Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Marianne Guevara and I'm returning with a new video, and this one it's going to be a straightforward movie review. I've been MIA recently, but today I really wanted to discuss a film that I've recently watched, and that would have to be Disney's 1999 classic Tarzan. I know it's such a weird film to kind of just drop a movie review on, but I watched it for like the first time a few weeks back, and I ended up falling in love with the film, and I have been rewatching it over and over again, and it has come to a point where I just want to discuss my thoughts on this film and basically kind of just promote it because I love it. Now, Disney's 1999 version of Tarzan is considered to be the last film of the Disney Renaissance, a period that stretches on from 1989 to 1999, and it's considered by many, including me, to be when Disney peaked, when Disney animations peaked, and it's characterized by films that were both critical and financial successes. And oftentimes, when you look back on your favorite Disney films, I think it's safe to say that a lot of them will come from that time period, will come from the Renaissance era. So yeah, Tarzan comes from that very prestigious lineage, and I think it's very well deserved. So the film starts off with this young couple with their baby boy, and they are shipwrecked off the coast of Africa. They eventually make a treehouse where they can stay and live together. However, the two parents end up perishing at the clutches of this leopard named Sabor. However, a she-ape named Kala eventually finds this treehouse and discovers the baby, their baby son, who was left behind and hidden away. And she had also lost a child to that same leopard. She takes in the child and adopts him and calls him Tarzan, and he's pretty much sort of taken into the gorilla family. The emotional crux of the film, or the emotional conflict, mainly has to do with the fact that Tarzan, initially isn't welcomed by the gorilla family, particularly the patriarch named Kerchak, and he strives or struggles to prove to everyone that he does in fact belong. And things get even more complicated when more humans show up in the jungle, and it becomes a struggle with Tarzan, a very inward struggle on where he truly belongs. Does he belong with the only family he has ever known, or does he belong with these creatures that look like him? So in terms of actual plot, structure, pacing, I honestly feel that Tarzan is one of the stronger Disney Renaissance films, more so than like Hercules, Hunchback, Pocahontas, or even Mulan. I just feel that it's so fine-tuned and sharp. Scenes will flow from one to another quite well. Like, there are no scenes that kind of feel are just there for the sake of being there, like they're extraneous or they feel like padding. It's pretty tight-knit. It's a pretty tight-knit film. I think it's like only an hour and 20-something minutes. I feel that the emotional conflict is well established in the beginning, and it's continuously fleshed out as the film progresses. It is basically a film about relationships. Tarzan's relationship with his adoptive mother, Kala, his relationship with, his tense relationship with Kerchak, and then his growing relationship with Jane and, the humans who have come to the jungle. And I feel that the film kind of just is able to balance them out quite well. But I really do feel that it's Tarzan's relationship with Kala, his adoptive mother, that is the strongest. And it is open to a lot of scenes that are, that tug at the heartstrings, I'm not gonna lie. I do tear up whenever, those scenes with him and Kala come into the forefront. It's very touching, and I feel like the director, the scriptwriters really nailed it with this film. With regards to the cast of characters, I feel that they're all solid. Granted, they're not as spontaneous or, I would guess, flamboyant as other cast of characters like you would see in Aladdin or, maybe Lion King. But I think they all work. They all work. I love Tarzan the best, of course. I'm kind of biased because I love fish out of water characters. During the Strangers Like Me sequence where he's learning more about humanity and everything, just there's such a wide-eyed, sort of like childlike whimsy. There's such a, inquisitiveness to him that is so endearing. I really love it. This is a jungle-bred man, but he's also very kind and very curious. It's such a good, contrast, and I really love it. I also really like the character of Jane Porter. I can't compare her to her literary counterpart because I haven't read the book, but I really love what Disney did with her. Like, they kind of made her her own. So she's introduced, she's very prim and proper, typical Victorian English woman. But she's also just a tad quirky and quite funny, in fact. And yeah, despite being prim and proper, you actually see her being open to this jungle world that Tarzan is introducing her to. And in many respects, I feel like there's a very kindred spirit to the both of them. And I feel like that's why the relationship works so much. Like, both of them, despite coming from two different worlds, are open to learning more about each other's worlds. And they take relish in it, in fact. And it's very sweet to see the relationship blossom. And Jane, she's so cute. She's a very cute character. I really do admire her. I also really like her father, Professor Porter. There's like this weird trope in Disney films with regards to like, dumpy, mustachioed fathers that somehow produced really good looking offspring. But he's my favorite because he's not an idiot. He's, I think like the Sultan is a bit of an idiot from Aladdin. But Porter, he's just so enthusiastic. He's bumbling, but just enthusiastic. And he just loves his daughter Jane. And I love their relationship. It's like they're sweet with one another, but they can joke with one another as well. I really admire it. And he's not like a major character, but he really adds a lot to the film. Clayton, on the other hand, I've seen a lot of people gripe about this film. Not mainly, but one of the reasons is Clayton. I do admit that he is bland. That people tend to say that he is bland, and to be fair, he is. Like, they complain that, yeah, he's just nothing, he's just a greedy hunter, and to be fair, yeah, that's what he is. But the thing is, the film more or less has two villains. It has Sabor in the first half, and it has Clayton in the second. And I feel like these two villains, complement Tarzan himself very well. Tarzan is sort of a creature of two worlds. He's a man, but raised in the jungle. And the two villains kind of, emphasize that those two aspects of Tarzan. So Sabor represents the savage, or the ruthless savagery of the animal world, and then Clayton sort of embodies, the greedy manipulativeness of man's world. And we see Tarzan kind of, put both of them down by outwitting them. The other characters, the side characters as well, like Turk, Tantor, I think are funny. Turk is that, sarcastic big sister figure, and then Tantor is just like this neurotic elephant. I don't know, they're amusing. I really like them. So yeah, all in all, this is a solid cast, so no complaints there. Now we move on to an aspect of the film that I just love, that I love to gush about, and that is the animation. Tarzan, I feel, has, I think, the best animation. I think I would say that, yeah, has some of the best animation within the Disney Renaissance. Like, oh dear Lord, like the animators went above and beyond with Tarzan. So if you're unfamiliar with the animating process in this film, the creators or the animators actually developed a new software, especially for this film, called Deep Canvas. And it's basically using 3D models for the background for the 2D animated characters to move around in. So you have, Tarzan is a good blend of 2D and 3D animation. I think like one of the best examples of blending 2D and 3D together. It doesn't look 3D. Like, when I watched it, I couldn't even tell. Like, that's how great it was. And it's really nice because it gives the film really great depth. There's a lot of beautiful scenes where like the perspective's like shifting, like you're kind of circling around a character or two, or you're like going like in and down. It's phenomenal. It's really fantastic. And they were really pushing the boundaries with animation at the time. And yeah, it's phenomenal, especially, oh my goodness, the 2D animated characters. Just watching Tarzan, seeing the action and the facial expressions, it just really reaffirms the fact that there's a fluidity, there's a vitality to 2D animation that, for me, it just cannot be replicated or captured in 3D animation. Like whenever Tarzan is, swinging on the vines, or when he's sliding on branches, or when he's fighting some boar, my eyes are glued onto the screen because it's so good. It is amazing. The fight scenes, the way they are choreographed, it's smooth. Everything is just so smooth, and I love it. I absolutely love it. And yeah, I mean, okay, with regards to animation, to sum it all up, it's amazing. It's breathtaking. I love it. God dang it. So now we move on to what is considered, at least I consider to be like the most controversial aspect of Tarzan, and that is the soundtrack. And I say controversial because, there are people out there. It's kind of split, I think, down the middle. People, like, the soundtrack will make or break this film for some people, and I find it incredibly odd. Though I have seen the reasons why. And I think I boil it down to like two reasons. One is the fact that, the format of the songs, the way they're introduced into the story, it's quite different from the rest of the Renaissance. And then the second one is Phil Collins himself. So with regards to the former, some people just don't like the fact that Tarzan doesn't follow the typical Broadway musical formula that has been used throughout the entire Disney Renaissance up to that point. So all the way from Little Mermaid up to Mulan, the films pretty much followed, a Broadway format. You have the characters physically singing the songs. With Tarzan, they did away with this, and I believe they did this on purpose. They kind of wanted to deviate away from that format. And honestly, I think it's fine. For those who dislike the change in the musical format, do you dislike it because you feel that the lack of characters physically singing the songs impairs the overall storytelling or lessens the emotional impact? Or do you just not like it because we're just so used to the characters singing? Because for me, the lack of character singing doesn't impair the overall storytelling. It doesn't lessen the emotional impact. So overall, I can't count it as a negative. I think it's still effective. Now, with regards to Phil Collins, I do understand the idea that, maybe it didn't have to be Phil Collins. It could have been, the songs, okay, they didn't have to be sung, like physically sung, but maybe, different vocalists could have been used or something like that. I can understand that, but I don't know, like, it still doesn't impair the story for me. I'm sorry. So overall, in conclusion, in summary, I love this film. I really, really love this film. This has broken into top 10, top 5 favorite Disney films. And I'm really happy that I kind of just rediscovered this film. And I don't know, maybe if you didn't enjoy it as a kid for some reason, revisit it as an adult. Maybe you'll like it more. Because I feel that this is just a strong, solid film overall. I mean, it was a critical, and if I'm not mistaken, a financial success when it came out. And I just feel that it deserves more love. I mean, I think that's the main reason why I'm making this review now. Just not many people talk about Disney's Tarzan, and I really feel that they should. I feel it's a very underrated Disney film, despite it being part of the Disney Renaissance. So yeah, I love Tarzan. Go check it out. Go get the Blu-ray. It's a phenomenal film. Okay, it's one of my favorite Disney films ever. And please let me know down in the comments, what do you think about Tarzan? Do you agree with some of my points? Do you disagree? Please let me know. How do you feel about this film? I look forward to more movie reviews in the future, but hopefully you enjoyed this movie review. And if you liked what you see here and you like my content, please feel free to like this video and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye!